Okay. We are live. Episode 19, I think, Wayne, right?
Episode 19, the live episode.
Crazy. Um, Great to see you on Friday, end of the week. Um, September 20th, almost at the fourth quarter. Pretty
The
crazy,
live
right?
episode.
Great.
All right, now here we go. We're having some technical difficulties up in here, Dave.
It's all right. We get, first
There's a
one.
bit of a delay, and that was disconcerting. But this is going to be a great episode.
Oh,
Um,
that. Oh, no, we're doing top five, it looks like.
yeah, instead of doing the normal top 10 that you detest, we're going to do a top five. We're going to do the top five. Um, we're going to keep you motivated and we're going to keep you focused. So the top five ways of staying motivated and focused when you've got your own business and you don't have a boss looking over your shoulder. Now, what about that?
No, I love it. And it would be good. Ian Slade is not here this evening, but we could even probably it'd be great to get his insights on a future show. And I kind of like live. I think that it gives people a chance to participate, check it out. We may have some callers come on. How would they get a hold of you, Wayne? Or how would they get a hold of us if they do want to come on the show? I guess they could put a
Yeah, they go in the chat. Let us know. I think that there's a way of including people. Look, one of the great things I made a promise to you that we get to 5,000 subscribers, we would do a live episode of the Straight Talk Commerce podcast.
love it.
Dave, we are right now at 4,973 subscribers. I acquiesce. I think that's close enough. We'd be far surpass that. We would far surpass that by next week. Tonight, we're going to be way further than 5,000. And that's very cool. It's a good feeling, don't you think?
It's amazing. I've met some of the listeners as they've come in to Witty events. I think we had a couple of the AI events this week. Pretty crazy that Google Notebook. I look forward to playing with that over the season, over the weekend, where people can kind of, we can create a podcast that's all AI based, right? Just you'll start to see that as we go over. And again, it's just quick ways to update our community on what's going on and make sure that we're serving them effectively.
Well, this is a slow process. I mean, anybody that is doing this realizes and recognizes that, hey, look, it's going to take a little bit of time to build an audience, but if you keep chipping away at it, if you keep plugging away, um, the dam will break, and then you'll have subscribers. You're going to reach your goals, and it's the same with business, Dave. You're not going to sell 50 million t-shirts. I don't care what the subject matter is. You're not going to sell 50 million t-shirts right out of the gate. You've got to build up to that. You have to have an infrastructure in place that can handle an order or 50 million orders.
Totally. And I think, look, and I think it's great. I think the reason we decided 19 episodes ago, right, to start this with the first one, where we both have our multiple businesses happening, it is to really be able to create something that's from scratch, a new brand, have everybody follow the success. We didn't know if we'd get 2 subscribers, right? Then we're close to 5,000. And just people could watch
I
along
always
the
knew.
way and align it with their growth.
I always knew. I have to correct you. I always knew. I always knew that we would have. I think we're going to have 10 million subscribers. I mean, how in the world
Wait,
would they
hold
not want to
on,
hear?
hold on. I
Is
think
that who I think it is?
I think
Ladies and gentlemen,
I think the ghost of Ian Slade has arrived.
the ghost of Ian Slade, Mr. Fugue State himself.
Hey
Yeah,
guys.
All right.
there he
All right.
is.
Ian
There he
Slade.
All right.
is.
Class just finished.
Great. Okay, good. Yeah, we just started actually. We're doing some of the preamble.
Perfect.
Weren't here, so there wasn't any refereeing to do. I think it's been pretty mild so far.
I want to know, hey, Ian, how you doing?
Fridays are tough because I teach all day at UCLA. So around this time I don't have that much voice left, but otherwise good. This is as I told David, I enjoy our sessions because this is where I get to put my hair down and have fun with you guys while
Well,
hopefully
that
providing.
that answers the question. I didn't think you'd be speaking to me after last week's episode.
Last week.
Okay, good. You didn't see it because I have a picture of you in the grocery store in a fugue state. We've been searching high and low trying to find where you've been. I put a picture. Go back and
I
watch
will.
last week's episode if you get a chance. Watch last
I
week's.
will. I'll definitely watch it later on today.
Yeah, there's a naked picture of you in a Ralph's, I think it is. A la Breaking Bad.
Yeah. We'll talk offline about those pictures. I was telling David when I was starting the NAD treatment about me having to run to the restroom. Unintended consequences. But glad to be back. Yeah. So
Yeah.
for today.
Yeah, please.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask you, David, for today.
Well, look, we have well, and actually you'll be excited to hear, Ian, that it will be the top five. What's the
Top five,
official
top 10.
Right. So top five, Wayne,
Just stay
Wait,
focused and motivated.
focused a bit. Okay, right. I forgot focus.
Top
Yeah,
five ways to stay focused and motivated. And you can see David Layton needs this desperately.
well, listen, and what we talked
Neither
about,
focused nor motivated.
what we talked about before Ian got on is, and Ian, what we talked about was just like, how do you know, we started because we all three of us have different businesses. We have a lot going on. Like, how cool would it be to like start this from zero, a new brand?
nice.
All the listeners we're just coming up. We'll probably hit 5,000 subscribers during this episode, so that they can all see it happen in front of their eyes and align it with their business growth, right?
Oh wow, yeah.
So, so here we are. We're doing a live one. I suspect we'll do more live ones. We'll get on a schedule once you're done with your classes at UCLA. We did, and actually right before this call, I had a call with a friend of Human's who has the Ageless Evolution Summit happening. Ageless Evolution Longevity and Wellness Summit that's happening October 11th at the Ameswell Hotel in Mountain View.
That is a mouthful.
Yeah, they've got. Yeah, I mean, they have some speakers they're pretty excited about. Now, you, Ian, working with UCLA Health and Stanford Health, may know some of these names.
Sure.
Let's see, Aubrey Gray,
Yep.
Nicholas Diometrides,
Yeah, I know Aubrey. Yeah.
Blanca Valendi, Wei Wu He. Anyway, I'll send this to you.
Now we're just making sounds, Wayne.
It sounds very, it's not cool. Not cool, Dave, what you're doing. Stop what you're doing.
Listen, it's gonna be good.
But I do know Aubrey de Grey. Yeah, he's one of the pioneers in the longevity. And actually, it looks like one. If you can find a picture of him, it looks like Moses.
Well, I was gonna say, right. I mean, they certainly have some, we'll say, some very wise men speaking at this conference. Here's right. That's
Yep, there it is.
Right.
Looks like Moses.
So anyway, we will have, I think we may raffle off a ticket. We do have
nice.
discounts, of course, for our members. Anyway, so check it out. That's just a new opportunity, one of many that just popped up right before this show. that we're excited about. And I think that really goes to the topic where, as entrepreneurs, and we're pushing and we're coming, beer goggles on, very excited about the business and know everything's going to go perfectly.
Right.
Sometimes that isn't the case. You get a lot of these naysayers around you, right? And we have to stay positive and really, not just positive, but disciplined and structuring
Right.
what we're doing, right? Wayne, anything to add to that?
Well, look, I want to stress that this comes after you've done your due diligence, after you've made the commitment that you're going to start this business. This is assuming that you've got a business you are already, all in for. This is how to stay focused and motivated. So if you aren't either of those things yet, get there. And these tips are really how to stay in that zone of motivation and focus.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do we want to
1 to 5.
1 to 5. All right.
1 to 5,
So,
baby, because the number 1 is extremely important.
right. Set clear and attainable goals. To your point, David, I see a lot of people whose eyes are bigger than their belly, right? What they try to achieve, they try to put in a 10-pound grocery item in 5-pound bags. And what happens is, well, you don't reach your short-term and definitely won't reach your long-term goals. Steve Jobs actually said something very profound along these lines. He said he would meet with his team members, and every week he would ask them, what good opportunity did you say no to? I'll repeat that. What good opportunity did you say no to? Because in his philosophy, saying no to a bad opportunity, that's just common sense. But saying no to a good opportunity means that you have clear, attainable goals in front of you, and you don't let anything distract you from that. So, what's his name? The godfather of management, Drucker,
Jim
Peter
Collins?
Drucker.
Oh,
Peter
yeah.
Drucker.
Yeah.
So when Rick Warren he was starting out his church, Peter Drucker was actually at his place, and Rick Warren was really excited. He's a pastor of mega church, and he let Rick Warren go on and on about what he wanted to build. And Peter Drucker had one question: what are you willing to stop so that you can start with this? And I found it to be very profound, because a lot of times we just want to do more and add on to the laundry list of the goals, objectives, things we want to achieve, without necessarily thinking about the trade-off, right? We all have 24 hours in a day. There's only so much energy and focus we can do. So what are the things that you're willing to forego so that you can achieve your goals? And I think that having that list of things you said no to is just as important as having the list of the things that you say yes to. Wayne, anything else you want to add for setting clear and attainable goals?
Well, what you look, imagine this is a marathon. Okay. If you ever go to a marathon, LA Marathon, Boston Marathon, any marathon, you will notice that there are water stations all along the track. Okay. They are not just in one spot. You don't get water at the beginning and water at the end. You have all of these different places. It's broken down into advice that I was given, or not advice I was given, that makes it seem like I would actually run a marathon, which I would absolutely not do, but which very weird that I would use this analogy. But When I first met my father-in-law, who I love dearly, he would do these marathons, and he told me that he would run between the water spots. That's where that's how he would keep along. Let's say that the three of us are going to take a road trip and we're going to drive from California and go to New York. You're not going to get there you'll get there much more comfortably if you pre-plan stops along the way, and you ask for directions in case, and make sure that you're still on the highway that is going to get you to New York, because sharp turns at Albuquerque, Bugs Bunny taught us at a very young age that, that's not a good thing to do. So you want to set clear and obtainable, and by the way, obtainable goals that, that you cannot and don't have a shot at obtaining, are going to do one thing and one thing only to you. They're going to dishearten you, and they're going to make it seem like that mountain you're trying to climb is impossible to climb. So you eat a whale one bite at a time.
I actually I asked that question in class, like, how do you eat an elephant? And someone yelled soy sauce.
Yeah.
Not expect that, but
The correct answer is one bite at a time.
one bite at a time.
You know,
Not soy sauce. But yeah, if the goal is too audacious, then you won't even try because it's so far out of your realm. But to your point, Wayne, it has to be attainable, so it also keeps you going, because the more goals you hit, they're kind of like video games, right? That you can get to level 1, you're excited to get to level 2.
Yeah.
But if at level 1 you're stuck, you can't get, you just give up. You throw the controls to the floor and do something else. So yeah, clear and attainable goals. The second one, oh, go
it
ahead.
also makes it it also makes it very easy to figure out what went wrong, or make adjustments along the way, because remember, we're going to measure and we're going to make adjustments, because sometimes you don't hit the target exactly. And sometimes in between where you left off and where you're going, you decide that was the wrong target all along.
Absolutely.
We should have been trying to go over here.
Look, and you have to be agile and you have to adjust, right? Without a doubt.
Yep. Now,
and after you set your goals, the second part, I believe all of us struggle with this, is sticking to it, creating the routine, doing the task.
Some of us have harder times than others. Look, life gets in the way, Ian. Life gets in the way. You have a goal in mind. You have a direction that you want to head. Look at Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods would tell you that it was all about the routine. He was willing to go longer, harder than anybody else in his career.
Yep.
Right? And his colleagues all went and had drinks with John Daly. Meanwhile, John Daly tells that story, tells it very well. He explains the difference between him and Tiger Woods. And he says, hey, look, I was in a tournament, and I'm sitting there with a full bottle of Jack Daniels, sitting at a table telling stories. And I said, Tiger Woods walks by, and I said, hey, Tiger, come have a drink with us. And he goes, hey, hold on, John, I got to go out to the range. That was his time to practice. I got some things I got to fix with my swing. Hours later, they're still sitting there having drinks and telling more stories. Tiger Woods walks back in, go back into the locker room. He goes, hey, Tiger, you've been out there on the range this whole time? He said, yeah. He goes, sit down with us. And Tiger had a routine, and he became the greatest golfer to ever live, and achieved most of the goals he set for himself because of that routine.
100%.
And just schedule everything in, right? Like,
Right.
I have walking my dog on the schedule, going on the treadmill, getting up, right? You have to really get micro with the whole thing.
Yep.
Stuff will not happen.
You mentioned UCLA. earlier, the great coach John Wooden was asked what differentiates superstar basketball players from the legends, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars of the world, the Magic Johnsons, the uh, Kobe's.
Kobe.
And you know what he said? It is adherence to all the boring routines. Adherence to all the boring routines. Because the exciting stuff, people want to do it. It's the boring stuff. When Kobe tragically passed away in that helicopter accident, Michael Jordan was telling the story of how he would get a call from Kobe at 3 a.m. asking him about his turnaround shot. Like how did you like fake that shot with so and so player? And Michael's like, who is this? Like, it's Kobe. What? It's 3 o'clock your time. And it's like, oh, I'm already practicing and I'm trying to repeat what you did with this player and that player. And Michael was like, God, man, get some sleep. But he was practicing the basics. Even Golden State Warriors, what am I thinking of, David? Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Steph Curry, one of the best shooters of all time. He still practices free throws every single day. So adherence to the boring routines. And there's this great book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's one of the best books around routine. And what he talks about in the book is create micro steps. And a micro step, for example, would be if you want to start your day by going to the gym, go to sleep in your gym attire. So when you wake up, have your shoes close to your bed, slip them on, have your gym bag already in the car, along with your water, get your butt to the car and go. The less friction you have in between you and your goal, the higher the likelihood that you'll be able to stick with your routine. It's a fascinating book. And as you read it, you're like, yeah, why didn't I think of that? So micro habits, micro routines leads up to the bigger habits, bigger routines that eventually helps you achieve those clear, attainable goals that we talked about. And not having them. Oh, here's another one. Stephen Covey said, the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he mentioned that which is easy to do is also easy not to do. So it's going back to David's example, walking the dog in the morning. That's pretty easy to do. It's also pretty easy to skip. I'll walk the dog later.
The ramifications of not walking your dog are
Yeah.
disastrous. Let me just say. And look, some of those things that we take for granted they're fairly easy to do.
Yeah.
Tend to be hard things to stop doing. Those things that we make into a habit and they become easy to do, going to the gym, that would be very difficult for me in my condition to go and to do until I got into that routine, and then maybe we'd see some traction here. But the point is establishing a routine and being able to make sure that that routine actually edifies what your goals are. Because you can have all these lofty goals, but if your routine says you're going to sleep in, routinely you sleep in until noon, routinely you say no to no-brainer partnerships, routinely you overeat and feel bad about yourself the next day, guess what? You're doing both of those things, but they have to be done in conjunction and they have to edify one another. Those habits have to edify the goals that you are trying to achieve.
Totally. And I agree on the habits. Actually, I spoke to Dr. John Finn
The Habit.
That's the
Habits
atomic-
Mechanics.
the Habit
I haven't read
Mechanics,
that
right?
one.
So similar to Atomic Habits, but
Oh, nice.
kind of taking a next level, professional coach. Somebody we should probably get on. He's based in London, so if we did get him on the podcast, we have to do him, more in the morning. But yeah, but anyway, I agree. All this stuff is, and again, comes back to self-discipline, right? Stuff's going on. Some people, you might live in a one-bedroom apartment, a house, an office, wife, kids, dog. Focus. I think
Yeah.
also going back and reviewing your calendar, right? I claimed I wanted this to happen this month. What did I do every day? Do those align? Now, your well-being and all that stuff is important. Sometimes it's like, oh shit, I'm just gonna work. Some
Yep.
of you, there's alleged that some of you made me see. Some of you may have commented seeing me doing some of that work during the podcast while Wayne's going on his long rant.
Diatribe.
Wayne's insightful commenting. Is that what
That's
you
right,
meant to
that's
say?
right.
Listen, but I've got listen. but
Wayne's
I have-
absolute genius.
but
You're
I have I have to get up our speaker, Bill Ryan, who's speaking tomorrow about Speed to Cool on the
Nice.
Odyssey site, right? So, listen, I think it's taking time, and then just even taking time to chill once it's all done.
Well, that would be a surprising thing because let me tell you about David Layton. For anybody that does not know, that may watch this later, David Layton, there used to be a show called That's Incredible when I was a kid, when you guys were kids. Kathy Lee Gifford, and there would be a guy from time to time that would spin plates. You remember that guy? He would have these sticks and he would spin plates on, and he would come up with 50 plates and he'd be spinning all of these plates on. That's David Layton. He is constantly going back and spinning plates and doing a bunch of different things all at once. And to catch him focused, even for a brief period of time, is no small miracle.
Like right now.
Getting him to focus and be present is no small miracle. So
I know I'm
kudos to-
cursed. I'm cursed with a very high IQ. So sometimes
right, that's
the
right.
world's moving.
would you
slow.
show us that at some point?
Right.
Would you reveal to us that high IQ that you possess?
I don't want to say it on the podcast. It embarrass everybody.
Then they will with ostracized folks. So he's trying to be among the masses. He's just like us. So
David Layton, to be honest with you, the only reason that I decided that I would do this with you guys is for that reason. I totally respect the two of you. I knew it would be a lot of fun. I knew that it would gain a popularity if it was properly, if it was properly adjudicated. That would be a good word for it. If it was properly promoted, that it would become properly. It would become popular if it was properly, promoted. And so far, I've been borne out that that's been correct. We complement one another very well.
Yeah.
one last thing I'll add to the establishing a routine is it's best if you can find a buddy. So if you want to be a runner, find a runner's club, right? Join it, be part of it. Because if you just rely on your own will and motivation, that runs out quickly. But if you have peer pressure, come on, David, we're out for our morning run, right? And there's 6 people outside of your door. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to get your butt up and get out there, right?
It's
But if
very
it's just you, right? It's
Yeah.
5:15 and it's 62 degrees outside.
We are not meant to be solitary individual people. We tend to group. It's dangerous to be out there by yourself, whether it's business or whether it's just plain survival. Okay, it's always better if you can find it in community. Okay, coming together and supporting one another and helping one another out. Now, is every community supportive? No. Is every, no, you can always find the exception to the rule, but what you just said is part of human nature. It is extremely insightful. It does tend to make it easier when you have the support and the nurturing and the support system. And by the way, that's number 5, of helping one another achieve those goals.
So, David, as you're able to adhere to these routines, what do you recommend people do? You look at your calendar, you achieve 4 out of the 5 that you set out to do. At that point, what should you do?
Look, schedule everything in, and then, it comes down to, I think one of the books that's really helped me shift is, and we are talking about it in next month's Agile community event, is Measure What Matters, and objectives and key results, right? And whether you're working under that infrastructure, KPIs, right?
That John Doerr?
Well, John Doerr wrote that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And that was what how Andy Grove built Intel, how when John Doerr vested it to the
Right.
early Google people, they based the growth of Google on OKRs and stretch goals and all these things. And
Right.
right, you're kind of just flopping in the wind, and it's, and yeah. So it's good, and I need to really get focused. I'm in the middle of kind of redoing our OKRs now. So it's it's great, right? It's good. A lot of our listeners are just kind of starting their business, right? So they can learn from some of the issues that we may have had, or wrong turns, or pain, or this or that. I kind of took over this company when it was already flying, 100 miles an hour, and customers and this and that. So I had to kind of keep things floating while, looking at revamping everything and then growing. So learn from our pain, everybody.
It's interesting that you say that. I got a phone call this week. Very good friend of mine. I've known him for years. He gave me a call and said, "Hey, would you mind? Can I take you to lunch? My daughter we want to start a business. We've been watching Straight Talk Commerce. She got a big kick out of it. She thinks you're hilarious and very handsome." And I had to agree. But he wanted to know, get advice. He wanted to call and say, "Hey, look, we're doing this." And it really brought home to me who we are doing this for. And, number 3, celebrating small wins along the way. Look, getting back to that analogy of driving to New York, every time you pull over to get gas, you're closer to your target. Every time you get out to stretch your legs or to go to the bathroom, those are miniature celebrations. We're closer. I can anticipate getting to my final goal, to my final destination, and that from there we'll go on another trip, no doubt. But for right now, the goal is to achieve X. For us, the goal is 5,000 subscribers. Once we get to 5,000 subscribers, we get to take a breath, look around, celebrate a little bit, and then, okay, we're on to 10,000 subscribers, 15,000, right? And one of the things that YouTube does right is the plaques. When you get to a certain level, they start handing out plaques to your channel as little rewards, reminding you, hey, keep growing, keep pushing, and celebrate those small wins. And the more subscribers you get, the more valuable those plaques become. Those plaques are diamond, and titanium and all, they elevate in value. And those celebrations that you do, I remember having a business where, look, I would go get a sub, okay? Had a good day, made a lot of sales today, go get a sub. And at a certain point, it was, hey, we're going to, I'm taking mama and we're going to get a steak tonight. It was a big win we just got today. So
Yeah.
you
That's
celebrate
great.
those small
Great.
wins. You celebrate those wins where you can get them, and that will keep you motivated. Whether you're landing a new client, whether you've finished a project that you didn't, that took a long time to do, whatever. But that is going to remind you of your overall progress and keep you focused and motivated to push to your final goal.
Absolutely. There's this poem that I really like called Desiderata, and towards the end it talks about beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You have every right to be here as the stars above. And at times we create these routines, and let's say we want to go 4 times a week to the gym, and we only go 2 or 3, and we beat ourselves up, right? I think a reminder of being gentle with yourself, because we are all works in progress. We are all trying to get to our the best version of ourselves. And to your point, Wayne, of taking the time to stop, stretch your legs, and celebrate the small wins, it it's what makes the journey worth it, right? There's a study of they looked at people who won the lottery, and they measured their happiness level like right after and then a few years after the fact. Crazy thing is, most of them lost most of their money in less than 5 years, and most of them, even with their money, their happiness level dipped back to almost close to before they had all this money. So if your goal is to just make so much money and then sacrifice everything in the process, you might be painfully disappointed, because it's not just about the destination, it's about the journey and the celebrations, the people you have, to your point, Wayne, taking out your lovely wife for dinner, celebrate small things, big and small, and that keeps you going to fight another day.
You're almost guaranteed that if you didn't achieve, or if you won, in one big hunk, this lottery, let's say, okay, you are almost guaranteed A, to lose it quickly, and B, be worse off than before you had it. And the reason that I say these things is because you didn't earn it. There was no struggle to get it. And so you're not going to be as likely to keep it. You're more likely to fritter it away, or get rid of it quickly. And now you've been exposed to what life could have been like had you worked hard and earned it, and that leaves a massive hole. I read some of the same stories I'm sure that you guys have about people that have won the lottery and their families get hooked on drugs and they lose their home, this fabulous home that they went out and bought. And I pray, please, while most people are praying, hey, I want to win the lottery, I am going the other direction, going, man, thank God that wasn't me, because I don't know that I wouldn't be able to take that. And it's easier because most of the time that you hear about a guy that built a business and lost his business, that is a short-term pain. Most of the time you hear that guy whipped right back around, gathered up a few bucks, and went right back into the fray. Kind of reminds you of those old West fights where the guy wipes his chin off and he's can't wait to get back in there and go forward. So yeah, that always reminds me of that.
Absolutely. And to stay in the game, number 4 is stay connected with your why. Why did you get into the business, right? What if Viktor Frankl, the author of Man's Search for Meaning, he had an amazing quote in the book that goes, man can survive any what if he has a strong enough why. So if your reason for doing things is something bigger than yourself, bigger than your ambitions, bigger than your dreams, affects family, friends, community, maybe even country, then it pushes you to get back up because it's not just about you. And more often than not, the people that do achieve wide success is because their why is way bigger than themselves. If you look at Elon, for example, his why is to get us off of fossil fuel. His why is to make us interplanetary species. His why is to use technology to fix neurological deficits. Homo sapiens 2.0 with his Neuralink. His why is to democratize data with his Starlink. So
Yep.
everything that he's doing, as goofy as he might be, is bigger than himself. And now I think he's approaching 250 billion now in terms of net worth. And the crazy thing is that Elon actually still couch surfs with his friends. And he really hasn't changed much of his lifestyle. If anything, is downsized because he sleeps at his factories. He's if you have 250 billion, I think you can not work for 300 years.
Well, he knows something that every other inventor discovers. Edison was asked that question. Oh, you've invented the light bulb. Alexander Graham Bell, they talked about he invented the telephone. Well, guess what? The 823 other attempts that failed, he had to, stay connected with his why. Elon had this every time one of those rockets fell out of the sky and blew up on the launch pad. You don't think that Elon didn't sit there and go, why am I doing this? Why I just blew up? That was $21 billion that just blew up on that launch pad. I'm sleeping on the hard floor of a Tesla factory, which he does from time to time still.
Yeah.
Why? Well, because I would like it if I sold more cars and we figured out a way to make this better. So staying connected with your why is, I would argue, the only way you are going to reach your destination. The minute you detach yourself with why the hell you're doing this, you can start a timer because you have a very limited amount of time you will continue down the path that you're on. Take it from me.
Yeah.
And that explains why most businesses, 80% is the number thrown out there, are gone in 2 years. 80%. So David, you truly belong to the Smithsonian for having survived since the late 80s, which is unheard of.
Yeah, well, look, you have to make it's a roller coaster ride, right? You have to make fast decisions, good or bad, right? I give you a lot of props, Wayne, for the decision you made this week, right? I don't know if you announced it, but you good or bad, you can dick around, right? Or you just act fast. There's no such thing as a failure because everything is a lesson. So if something's not hitting the numbers you want or whatever, you just take that same structure and knowledge and then just put it in another vertical, right? So I think everything we're doing, all this stuff is, your master program, your PhD program that you're paying for, but you're getting real life, experience.
Well, in the case of Melody Clouds, which is what you're talking about, I was in a, knockdown, drag out battle with both Apple and Google, both clamoring for control of the data on my customers' phones. And my why happened to, be disconnected from Google's why and Apple's why. They want your data, and that's why they do anything. And I made Melody Clouds for other reasons than that. I didn't care about people's data, didn't want their data. Your data is your data. So I had nothing to do with it. Now, they made business. They didn't want me on their platform anymore as a way of trying to teach me that I needed to give them their data. And I think I surprised them in that I put my foot down and I finally refused. And you don't continue to throw good money after bad on pursuing something that you have two avenues when you have an app, a phone app, two avenues, Google Play Store or the Apple Store, okay, the App Store. And when both of those avenues are closed, those roads are closed to you because part of what you think is diametrically opposed to what their business model is, then you need to cut fish or cut bait. Well, it's time to cut bait at that point. You have to make a decision. There's no way to disperse this app. It won't work on these phones anymore because I'm not willing to give away my customers' data for no reason. That was the connection to my why.
Good for you.
So are you still on those two platforms, Wayne, or?
No.
wow.
As a matter of fact, what was it, Tuesday, we, officially closed, and it may be temporary, but I'm telling you right now, I'm the wrong guy. If you think you are going to bully somebody, you may be able to, but it's not going to be me. I'll find something else to do. I'll find another. I subscribe to the Bruce Lee Business School, be water. Find the crack, find the seam. I have been successful before. I've had things that, listen, I don't think anyone would argue that this was somehow my fault. My customers, my subscribers have been great about this. Not one person asked for a refund, not one. Every single person has been, look, this sucks that you're going through this, and, we're not going to pile on you. Now, does that mean that Apple and Google will always have this opinion? I have my own reasons to think yes. And it has to do with AI, and it has to do with feeding that information into a much larger thing. But look, it did not coincide with my why. My why is, I don't like the idea that you have to give up your personal information to do banking, to do, for every single thing. Plenty of other apps out there that are going to steal your information. They're going to take your information, and you are poorly notified of that. They will say, well, we told you that we were going to do this. So, but you don't realize it. You don't recognize it. I mean, how many of you guys read through every time you sign up for this or that? There is a list of things we click and we say, hey, we read it. But you didn't read that. South Park did a great episode about that, where Apple came out with a new thing and they signed away their ability to say no to Apple. I'm just not that guy. So,
Same thing with the cookies. Like who really reads through before hitting accept cookies, right? For privacy. Well,
anybody that wants to know why this is such a problem needs to read about price optimization. Price optimization, I'll give you a very quick overview of this. A few years ago, Kayak and Priceline, people are familiar with those two apps. It was a way of getting a much better price for airfare, okay? Well, the way they do that is called pricing optimization, and they would basically find for you the best price for the airfare from where you're leaving to where you're going. And everybody loved it. And it became very popular, and it was $1 billion industry. Now what we are seeing is the exact opposite of that. So let's say that you are a mother with an infant at home, and you have done a search for medicines that you can give your baby for their fever. Pricing optimization now works for the corporations, CVS, Walmart, Target, all the places that sell baby medication. And the price for you gets raised because they know that you will pay it. And so you are getting ripped off whether you know it or not. I'll give you a better example of this. If the three of us sat in the same exact room and all three of us booked a flight from LA to Des Moines, Iowa, the price for me, because I have a daughter in Des Moines, would be 10% higher, because the airlines know that I'm going to be willing to pay a higher price than you two chuckleheads, because you don't know anybody in Des Moines. You just want to go for the food or whatever. You know what I mean? They're trying to entice you two to go, but they're trying to punish me because my family member is there and they know I'm going to pay a premium. Now,
Wow.
that to me is theft. And that to me is something that we really have to put some legislation on, because that is real money and it is coming out of your real bank account. And I think that that is shady as all you know what.
Yeah, but some companies will choose to do that, some won't. You can't just say that, oh, everybody's going to come and do it.
Dave,
after
and the
technology
companies that
stuff.
choose to do it are going to be
Right,
at
so
a hell of an advantage over the companies that choose not to do it.
maybe
So,
not necessarily.
no,
No,
not
not
maybe,
necessarily. That is
not
bullshit.
maybe.
Yes, maybe.
If I know that I can charge more and I can get pricing optimization software, and I know that you're sitting over there and you have integrity and you won't use that, I now have a distinct advantage over you because you have integrity and you
then
won't do that.
you leak to the media that they're doing that, and then the consumers will talk.
Or you get the bald guy to talk about it on his podcast, and
Well, listen,
if you guys don't see me
think,
next week,
I don't think a human on Earth can not hear about it with you ranting. But but it's like, listen, you can't just say, oh, all of them are going to do it. I think that's where some of the cream's going to rise to the top. Look,
we are going to be
listen to me. They have had predictive analytics, AI. That was the big industry when we
Yes.
this is the big industry in the 80s with IntelliCorp.
That's how I started this conversation.
Right.
I
understand.
But the point is, David, it used to benefit the consumer. It's great when it benefits the consumer. When you can use it for logistics to get stuff to me quicker and cheaper and pass the savings along to me, then AI is properly being used. But when you sit in your dark little corner and you decide that because my baby is sick right now, that now would be a good time to raise the price of ibuprofen, we got a problem. How about that?
Yeah, David, stop lobbying for these big greedy companies, David.
Seriously, Ian, seriously, he thinks I'm the problem. David,
let's ask Ian. Hold on, Ian's been off working with his clients. He hasn't Now we have these. I want Ian's opinion. Wayne, don't make any faces. We have 2 generative AI think tanks every week. Ian, the rules are people come to that space 1 hour, learn about new tools, productivity tools, AI programs that are going to be.
What's the rule, Dave?
For them to go. We do not talk any negative, because we will go down these rabbit holes. Right now, that doesn't mean I'm not worried about the AI and some of the negative effects. Yes, we can have separate rooms for that. Wayne feels like and correct me if I'm wrong, that I'm just not seeing it, or I'm living in a bubble and ignoring some of the potential challenges. I say that's bullshit.
David,
and I think we're having a separate. Are we going to have a separate room, whether we do it on Clubhouse or Spaces or?
Yeah, you're right. And here's the way I look at it. Okay, David introduces me to this woman. Okay, Wayne, date her. She's great for you. She's fantastic. Absolutely 100, very beautiful. Okay. And he doesn't tell me that her credit score is in the 200s. He doesn't tell me that she's got a broke down car and she is very needy and right. And she's seeing 100 other men. She doesn't tell me that. He tells me the great things about this person, and I'm a sucker. I go all in, and it's too late by the time I find out all of the negative things. Now, David is correct that you cannot have a generative AI discussion that you start talking about the negatives. He's correct. People will focus only on those negative things and won't talk about, hey, Jen, and it won't talk about the positive things that AI does for people. And that's not me. I'm telling you now, I use AI more than anybody. I'll put my use of artificial intelligence and my knowledge about it against anybody else. Name them, bring them to me. What I am saying is today, we are seeing some very dark, negative, beyond negative. We are seeing some very dark uses of this, whether it's copyright laws that need to be changed or whether it's pricing optimization that I just, explained to people. If you can't see that that's going to be a problem, we are going to live in a dystopia that I don't think many people are ready for. And yes, I'm here ringing the bell saying, hey, let's watch this because this is no good.
And there's spaces you can ring the bell, spaces where the bells are appropriate. Now, another thing too, Wayne, when you talked about IP, I thought that was a great lesson from Raymond a few weeks
Seriously
ago.
good.
Just about, because I thought the key thing to his talk, and we will have Raymond on as a guest at some point.
Yeah.
And he talked about IP, and he's one of the, billion-dollar IP strategy, his book, great guy, a member of Odyssey, who we love, is that, when you're encouraged to patent your technology, there's a couple things wrong. First of all, you're putting out all your information in the patent office. That means a massive 20 years. You're now exposing all your secrets.
Yep.
Plus, if companies want to challenge your patent, they can, put you in court for 5 years and put you out of business or even get behind it. Now, he said the trade secret law, which was passed in the U.S. in Obama's towards the end of his time in office, and then there have been other laws in UK and even China. People can go to jail for infringing on your trade secrets. So therefore, when with these executives that may want to screw you or mess with you because they've got billions of dollars to blow on just effing with the little guy who came up with a great idea, trade secrets, their ass is going to be in jail.
Yep.
So anyway, I just thought I'd mention that because look,
he also mentioned, Raymond also mentioned how incredibly intelligent I was for calling this out and bringing it to everyone's attention. He said he was blown away by just how sharp and insightful I was, and that your head comes to a point. He said
that's why they call you the pinhead.
You, the pinhead, because you're the one with the pointy head.
Now, first of all, look, and I think that all comes down to building a support system, building the structure, right? Friends, support it. A lot of the trade secret stuff was making sure if you're going to show someone your tech or your process or whatever, they're under an NDA, right? So those are small business, I think those are kind of the things that sometimes when you're lost in the chaos and you want shortcuts because you're doing the job before people, you want to take some of those shortcuts, but definitely turns out.
Surrounding yourself, sorry, Dave, sorry.
No, please, you're good. Go.
Surrounding yourself with not an echo chamber. Not what we definitely are against echo chambers. Surrounding yourself, though, with people that you trust, that have been down the highway you're traveling down, right? It'd be a lot easier for the three of us, since none of us have driven, or maybe none of us have driven to New York, right? We follow. It'd be easy to follow someone that's made that trip before, right? Share
Totally.
ideas on where to stop and get a bite to eat. Share what the challenges are going to be. Hey, by the time we get to Colorado, it's going to get super cold. You guys need to, make sure that you're fully fueled. All these tips and tricks on how to get there safely, right? Your consistency and speed and your adaptability in case something happens along the way. Those are all part of a support system. And I would argue that Odyssey, men's groups, the one that you and I run, Dave, Odyssey, that it's perfect. It's perfectly suited for that, because you've got a collective of people that are really business minded. And that's what we aim to do. There's somebody there that can talk to you about IP. Somebody there that can talk to you about starting a podcast or gaining an audience, publicizing your business. There's somebody that's already been there when it comes to, hey, look, I've had a fight with Apple or Google. What can I do to maybe get myself out of this situation, right? So you build that support system around you, because no one can do this in a vacuum. No one. Elon, even, he's constantly on X, thanking people and talking about the people that are helping him along the way and giving him wisdom along the way. So, being able to do that and to have that support system around you is probably one of the top tips that we're giving. Do not try to go this on your own. Go this alone.
Totally. And and I think another thing too, Wayne, is like you said, don't surround yourself with an echo chamber. Get feedback. I did speak to that one member that gave us, for Witty, right, the should we call it constructive criticism, right? Or pointed out some things that she felt could be improved with Witty. Questioned a couple of the programs we were doing. And that was invaluable. I had such a great talk with her,
Well, her demand for more of me really is what warmed my heart. She actually asked, could you have him in every single one of your, and, I can't be everywhere at once. I'm sorry, Laura, but look, one of the things that I do try to do is spread myself and, allow, my light to shine as bright as it possibly can.
Well, look, I won't mention.
It's all right, Dave. You're welcome.
Listen, I will agree that your name was only of the three of us, only your name was mentioned in one of the survey results. I won't share what that comment was. But
yes, you will. You just won't share it here. You will share it. You may not share it here and now, but trust me, I know that you will be sharing her what she said. I promise.
It was actually a woman who shared. I'll share that other thing with you. That had nothing about you. I don't even know if you met that woman. But one of our Odyssey members, you probably know who he is, Wayne. You're not gonna just listen. Don't be unhappy when you open up the mailbox at Christmas and it's not a gift in there for you.
It's okay. It'll be okay. Look, you also have to be willing to, as I say, pick up a hoe. You have to be willing to help others. This idea that you're building the support system to support only you, that's not what this means. Building a support system means finding mentees, not just mentors. You have the ability to raise others. Guess what? Do it. I invite people all the time. Contact this podcast. If you've gotten to this point in the podcast, you contact us. We will definitely help you, shout you out, help you, assist you, do content together, right? Anyway, we don't discriminate. We want to actually be part of a community. So far we haven't told any. The only person we've told no is the one that suggested I wear a wig because of the glare on my, that is absolutely not.
All right. Well, with that, fellas, good one tonight. Very happy, Ian, you were able to join. I think
Me
let's
too, me
work
too.
out a time until you end the
Yeah.
class.
I'll be done come Halloween and we can uh revert back to normal programming. But no, this is great, and I'm happy that able to join this topic because a lot of these things we're all still working on, right? Like building good habits and routines. We're all a work in progress. So this is not us talking down to people. This is us sharing with you what we're also working on. So we're all on the same journey.
Totally. And with that, another number 19, the
Awesome.
big 20. We'll announce some other lives along the way. I think this was good, Wayne, right? And we can
Yeah.
I know you want to edit and do some other things, but listen, it's a growing we have to be agile, as do all of you. With your
Yeah.
startups and small businesses, with AI, new things coming out. Anyway, we will continue. Great one, fellas.
Thank you.
100%. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I'm glad you suggested it, Dave. That was a good idea.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I like the 5. It's it got us
Not
an
that
hour nicely.
going live. We're back to
I
10.
agree with
We're
you.
going right back to
Thank you.
10. As a matter of fact, I have one that's 25 reasons. 25 reasons you do 10. You do 10.
Listen, I've got 25 reasons. We should only do 5 reasons on the
I know you guys like to listen. I'm gonna explain something to you. When you guys have done the research and you see what people respond to when they're actually typing in a search, when they're actually looking for content. Okay, they're very, very attracted to the top 10 this, top 10 that.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so there is a rhyme to my reason.
No, without a doubt. Wayne, you want to hit the YouTube thing up at the top